First and foremost, Senator Chuck Schumer is here. Several members of the town board, Trish Bergen, Jean Parrington, I don't see any others. We have the Commissioner, Teresa Rizzuto, and from LIA we have Kevin Law, and from ABLI hiding in the background is Des Ryan. Their presence. Oh, he trimmed it, yes, and an excellent job he did. I just want to start by saying that the presence of these folks, I think, speaks volumes to the importance of today's press conference, and it also lends a great deal of weight to our desire and our attempt to bring new destinations to this airport for the greater flying convenience of our public. And frankly, without any further ado, I want to hand it over to Chuck Schumer, who has been instrumental in helping this airport since the day I was elected town supervisor. I remember when the control tower behind us was in dire shape, and we were to wait until 2015 for a new one. Well, we have a new one today, and that's largely through the efforts of the Senator, along with many of the other improvements here as well. And today he's here to lend his voice to our continuing marketing efforts of this wonderful airport. Senator Schumer.
Thank you. Well, thank you. I want to thank Phil Nolan and Deputy Supervisor Jean Parrington, also a council member, Trish Bergen, a council member, Teresa Rizzuto, a distant relative of Phil, from Glendale, Queens, in my old, I don't know if you are, but Phil Rizzuto was from Glendale, Queens, in my old congressional district, as well as Des Ryan of the Association for a Better Long Island, and Kevin Law of the Long Island Association, are two leading business groups. So I thank all the high-powered people who are here, and I also want to thank all the people who work here at MacArthur. From the people who run it, all the way to the clerical staff and mechanics and everybody else, all the way down to the people who sweep up late at night and keep the place clean. You all do a great job, and this is a very important airport for Long Island and for New York. As anyone can tell you, MacArthur Airport, while convenient for local residents, hasn't realized its full potential. Well, MacArthur today has a unique opportunity to become a home to one of the world's most successful airlines, and I'm talking, of course, about JetBlue. My office has recently learned that JetBlue is considering an expansion to the Northeast, and MacArthur is one of the top contenders. So, we are going to make a very hard push to bring JetBlue here. Today, I'm here to announce an effort to bring JetBlue to Long Island. Expanding service into Long Island would be a huge win for Long Island families and businesses who would benefit from having an airport much closer here in Suffolk County. And our other airports would benefit in that it would take some of the traffic and overcrowding away from them. So even if you live in Queens or Brooklyn, as I do, having MacArthur expand is a big benefit. I'm cautiously optimistic that once JetBlue takes a hard look at the numbers, close to 3 million people on Nassau and Suffolk County, many of whom for business and pleasure reasons travel higher than the national average, that they'll use MacArthur as their Northeast destination, and I urge them to do so. Is this a done deal? Absolutely not. We have a decent chance of winning? Yes, and that's why we're making the fight. Let me explain. I have a very long and close relationship with JetBlue. In fact, they call me their great-uncle. The reason is very simple. I campaigned in 1998 on bringing better air service to upstate New York. That was my campaign thing. 3 weeks later, I get a call. This is November of '98. David Nealman, he calls, he says, I want to meet you. I can help you achieve your goal. He said, I want to create the Northeast of the Southwest. No, sorry. I want to create the Southwest of the Northeast. I want a low-cost airline based in the Northeast. That was before Southwest had come to here and to Albany and to Buffalo. And he said, all you have to do is get me 75 slots at Kennedy Airport. That's a huge undertaking. But he did say to me, I remember his words, that you could roll a bowling ball down the runways of Kennedy Airport before 3 p.m. because all the international flights came late. I said to him, I'll only do it if you fly to Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, and Albany. They had horrible service from New York City. He said, let me study it. 3 weeks later, he came back and he said, I'll fly to Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse. Albany's too close. And I said, fine, you're a man of your word. And I looked up and said, there's a God in heaven. And I worked hard, and we got them 25 slots a year for 3 years. He kept his promise. There were supposed to be 3 flights a day to the upstate cities. There's 8, 7, and 4, respectively. And JetBlue has become a major airline headquartered in Queens, New York City. So that is the story. JetBlue services all the major airports in the metropolitan region with one exception. This one, MacArthur. But MacArthur would make a perfect home for JetBlue. Here's why. Expanding service into Long Island represents an unparalleled opportunity for JetBlue to grow its business into a region that is bigger than 19 states and one of the largest middle-class regions in the country and one of the most underserved by airlines. We also know that the population on Long Island is growing eastward. The fastest growing places are in the eastern part of Suffolk County, making additional air service here a fantastic option. In the next 15 years, Long Island's customer base is expected to double, making MacArthur the perfect long-term investment for the company. On top of that, as Teresa will tell you, MacArthur is ready and able to accommodate JetBlue because they have the infrastructure and capacity necessary to take JetBlue on immediately. You won't have to wait. If JetBlue says yes, they won't have to wait 5 years for a new terminal or getting slots or this or that. They say yes, they can be here just about immediately. But the best reason that JetBlue should pick Long Island, because right now, millions of Long Islanders are traveling to New York City airports when they could be flying right out of their own backyard. According to a recent study, 3 out of 4 million passengers per year in this area travel to one of New York City's airports instead of flying out of Long Island. They'd prefer to fly here, but there's Southwest and the other airlines do a great job, but there aren't enough options yet. If passengers had better flight options and more routes to take, they'd certainly choose the more convenient option of flying out of MacArthur. It's a very convenient airport. It's an easy airport to use. It's traffic and hassle-free for 3 million Long Island residents. Based on the numbers and how much Long Islanders hate traffic, I have a feeling JetBlue's pitch has a great chance of success. Now, I've spoken about how Long Island will be great for JetBlue, but of course we all know that those who stand to benefit most are Long Islanders themselves, and they know it. My office has our phones are ringing off the hook this morning with excitement about this. I think somebody told me there's already a Facebook page. What'd you say, Jerry? Facebook comments, and there are hundreds of them already this morning, so this has sort of struck a nerve. Instead of driving an hour or two, taking the LIRR to JFK or LaGuardia to catch a flight, families would just be a hop and a skip and a jump from dozens of flights right here on Long Island. Long Island businesses also stand to benefit. Businessmen and women look at how close an airport is to where they locate a factory, an office, a headquarters, as our 2 business leaders can attest. So it's clear that MacArthur would represent a win-win for JetBlue and for Long Island residents and businesses, and that's why we're asking JetBlue to make MacArthur their new home. Well, what do we need to do to bring JetBlue to MacArthur? Well, I've already started laying the groundwork. Over the past weeks and months, my office has been in constant contact with Supervisor Nolan and Commissioner Rizzuto at MacArthur about how to best make the pitch. I've already talked to Dave Barger once. He's the president of JetBlue. He's a great guy. He's an on-the-merits guy, and they're not going to make a non-economic decision simply because I call. But they will listen. We will have an open ear. And if things look good, I'm sure they'll want to make everybody happy here. So, as I said, we have a decent chance of getting this. We really do. I also like to play baseball trivia with Dave Barker. And so we always take each other's calls. He's a Detroit Tigers fan. God bless them. They were in first place 2 days ago. I don't know if they still are. They were tied, I think, with Cleveland. I am a Yankees fan. And we've done good. But I remember Frank Larry, the Yankee killer. Dick McCall. Right. Al Kaline. Anyway, enough of baseball. I am willing to do whatever it takes to bring JetBlue here. Whether it be with JetBlue, with the airport, with all the federal authorities who control air traffic. And I am very hopeful that we can make this happen. With that, I want to call on, who's going to speak next? Okay, we're going to have Phil, Nolan, and then Kevin, and then Teresa, and anybody else. Thank you.
Before we bring up Kevin Law, the senator is going to take 5 minutes of trivia questions on the Yankees. Anybody have a question? Only kidding. Kevin Law.
Can I give you a good one?
It doesn't take much.
Two players have hit 1,000 hits in each league for one team in each league. Can you name them? One in the National League, one in the American League. The American League, the team he hit for was the Yankees. What? There's the man. Who'd he hit it for in the National League? You got it. Dave Winfield. But now the National League, and here's a hint, it's an active player. An active player playing now. He played the Yankees about a month or two ago. Vladimir Guerrero, 1,000 for Texas and 1,000 for the Montreal Expos. To get 1,000 hits for the Montreal Expos is a very hard thing to do. Now, without further ado, let me introduce Phil Nolan.
Who will introduce Kevin Law from the LIA.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Supervisor Nolan. And I had the pleasure of introducing Senator Chuck Schumer at my fall luncheon last September. And I want to say the same thing I said then, that we are fortunate. We have the hardest working senator in the U.S. Senate. And he's not only a fighter for our country and our state, he is a terrific friend for Long Island and a true champion for Long Island. So, Senator Schumer, thank you for all your efforts. This MacArthur Airport is an asset. You know, Long Island has many challenges, and we tend to dwell on the challenges and the issues that we have, but we also have tremendous assets. And this airport is an asset. And we need to build upon our assets to make a stronger economy for the future. And so things like this, bringing in Southwest over the years and having them grow, and now luring JetBlue to MacArthur Airport will be a tremendous boost to our economy. It will strengthen this asset, and we will do everything that we can at the Long Island Association to support Senator Schumer's efforts and Supervisor Nolan's efforts and the town of Islip's efforts. So thank you very much for having me here today. Good luck.
Just ask Des Ryan from ABLI. He's here, but he's just here to support us, doesn't wish to speak, although I'm sure he'll entertain questions if anyone has any. At this time, we'd certainly like to open it up to question and answer.
First on this subject, then on any other subject. First on this, yes, NJ.
Senator, it sounds as if you're just willing to offer JetBlue whatever they want to come into MacArthur. I know I'm saying that facetiously, but you know, what is on the table? You know, taxpayers are concerned about deals.
This won't cost the taxpayers a nickel because we already have the beautiful facility, we already have the control tower, and we already have a lot of flights. So what we're offering JetBlue is just the good service of MacArthur, the fact that we do know they want to expand in the Northeast, and that we think this is the best opportunity. And the number one thing we're offering MacArthur is a place no one else in the Northeast can offer, which is close to 3 million people in your catchment area who fly a lot.
If I could follow up, you mentioned your deal with JetBlue earlier about the flights to upstate. I'm wondering if you're working on a similar type of deal that involves other gates, other airports, things like that.
Okay. There are ample gates here at MacArthur. Obviously, they need gates at other airports that they would fly to, and I will work to get them those gates in every way that I can.
Is that part of what's being discussed now?
Well, first they'd make a decision about MacArthur, Then they would make a decision of where they're going to fly to. Most of the other places they'd go to have adequate gates. The gates are really tight only at a handful of airports, although all 3 New York airports, the other 3 are among them. So expanding, when they want to expand, MacArthur's the easiest place for them to expand. I did get them to do some flights. They do a handful of flights out of Newburgh, out of Stewart.
Senator, or perhaps Kevin on this. Kevin, you mentioned it would be a tremendous boost to the Long Island economy. Could you be a little more specific in terms of what JetBlue would do? More hotels? What would it do?
Yes.
In more specific
Mike,
terms,
I've got to give Des a chance at this.
Yeah, Mike, what I'll do is I'll answer that for you. This boils down to very simply 3 words: jobs, jobs, jobs. The senator made it very clear when you look at a containment area like Long Island with 3 million people. Kevin represents a lot of the business organizations here in Nassau and Suffolk County. The ability to have an airline of this nature come in will have a tremendous economic spin-off for the entire region, and it will only benefit the community as we look to grow and expand our economy.
But let me give you some
Specific. I just want to give you a specific on this.
Go ahead.
It's the index is about 270 terminals of economic activity per employment, per person flying. A minimal presence of JetBlue, we believe, would generate no less than $24 million in annual economic activity in this area, and that is a minimal number. That's very, very conservative. So, very significant economic impact.
You know, obviously, if there were a lot of flights from JetBlue here, there could well be more hotels built. The odds are you'd attract more businesses. We are building and have gotten hundreds of millions of dollars for Stony Brook and Brookhaven to become the major physical science research center in the country. It would allow more scientists to come here quickly and easily. It has so many different opportunities.
Senator?
Do you think JetBlue's move out here would have any noticeable impact on the delays and the
Yes.
congestion at the city airports?
We need more. It's estimated we'll need 25 to 33% more flights out of the New York metropolitan area over the next 15 years. And Kennedy, LaGuardia, and Newark are up to the gills. You know, you might be able to fly a plane at 5 in the morning or at midnight, but not during prime flying hours. So opening up MacArthur would not only help Long Island, but it would help relieve some congestion at the other 3 airports. And that's one of the features that JetBlue is looking at. Some might say, well, they have flights out of Kennedy, they have some flights out of LaGuardia, but they want to expand. I know that because they've told me. And they want to expand in New York, which is their hub. And this would give them a great opportunity to do that. Well, they're going to be making the decision over the next several months, and I don't want to delude people. This is not a done deal, as I said before. We have a lot of competition, but we think our arguments are the best arguments. And that's what we have the opportunity to make, and with JetBlue, because of my relationship with them, we will be able to talk to the top brass. I hope to get Teresa to sit down with Dave Barger, the president. She is a distant relative of Phil Rizzuto. So that's going to get us in the door.
Is that what's going to do it?
No. The arguments will get us in the door, but I already told them that.
You mentioned the infrastructure here can handle the increased flights. Can the surrounding infrastructure, specifically the roads, the LIE, the North State, can that handle it?
Yes.
Why are you so sure about that?
Because if you do the math of what a flight generates, or 10 flights a day generate, they don't come all at once. There are points during the day when it's crowded on Betts Highway. Most of the time it's not. The increase for the first, we've had 35 flights a day from here in the past, or more. We're down in the mid-20s now due to the economy. And we're easily were able to handle that extra 10 or 12. And I believe that you can go seriously past that without any major traffic consideration.
Okay.
Who are the competing airports? Do you have any idea who the competing airports are who are also trying to add?
We're not going to give them any free publicity at this press conference.
Let's put it like this. In our judgment, no one close to as good as MacArthur.
That's it. That's a better answer. Yes.
Thank